Awesome. Thank you. All right. Working with buyers and sellers. This guide outlines our step-by-step process to deliver a consistent, high-level experience for every buyer from first contact to closing and beyond. Step one is your initial contact and intro call, right? So up until this point, we've talked about, we did expireds training, we dial day. The whole time we've been talking about lead generation and cultivating, right? We did open houses, we're dialing through the pond. So now at this point, you've got your initial contact and your buyer inquiry, right? Someone's interested in 123 Main Street, or they're interested in learning of the process to buy your property, right? So the goal on your first initial call is build rapport and set the buyer's consultation, right? So we're going to conduct a brief intro call. And, a lot of us, especially working on the Zillow side, that we use ALM, right? Appointment, location, motivation. The goal to your intro call is to learn about your buyer's goal and motivation. You can, depending on what kind of lead and who you're talking to, confirm the financing status, explain your process and value, and schedule your buyer's consultation, right? So set the appointment. That is the goal, right? Of your first initial call. Build rapport, set the appointment, set your buyer's consultation, right? Who has tips? How do we build rapport? This is the interactive part. I'll wait. I'll wait all day.
Ask questions and learn about their motivation and how you could be a resource.
There you go, right? Ask questions, right? Like, do you have a bird? I got a bird. I saw the bird, so I had to. Right? Just ask
Always
questions.
ask like personal question that it can reflect to you and also to them to make it more personal.
There you go. Find your commonality, right? Ask about family, ask about where you work. You can find that common. Do they have pets? Right? So very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Step two.
Maybe asking also too what their must-haves. Hey, what's your must-have? What is like a must-have you have? And then they just kind of spit it all out.
Exactly, right? Get them thinking about their future. Have them start dreaming, and then you can dream along with them, and so then you get to figure out what they want, right? Essentially doing their needs analysis. But step two, confirmation and next steps. Okay. Rule of thumb should be every time you have a phone call, you text these people, right? Hey, we just talked about the process to buy a home. We just talked about meeting at a property. We talked about meeting for a buyer's consultation. Send them a text, confirmation text. It can be a video. Hey, just putting a face to the name. Let me tell you, my biggest sale came from me sending an intro text video. One of the biggest transactions I had. They work, okay? You want to personalize. You don't want to just be that other person or that stranger on the other side of the call, right? Personalize yourself. So video, text, and email include appointment, date, time, and location, and what to expect during the consultation. Okay. During this consultation, we're going to review the steps to the home buying process. We're going to uncover your hopes and dreams, right? All right. Step number three. We are in the buyer's consultation. Okay. So we have to remember that this is where really you're going to educate, align expectations, and establish loyalty, right? If you think about what are the three important communication skills, right? Always adding value, always communicating what's next, and being proactive and responsive, right? You guys are agents, you reach out to me, right? Does it ever drive you crazy when I don't answer you right away? If I'm not responsive, if I'm not being proactive, right? Same thing goes for you. We've got to be proactive, right? Don't wait for them to ask you a question. Don't wait for them to send you homes, right? I can't stand when I say, oh, I don't want to see this house anymore. Okay, let me know when you see one you like. What? Right? We should be proactive, right? And being responsive. Awesome. Now, so during the consultation, we're going to review and complete our buyer questionnaire, right? So again, in that Google Doc I gave you, we have some hyperlinks. The buyer questionnaire talks about all the things that we should be asking, right? All the questions. Who can tell me in what way is that buyer questionnaire formatted? Who can tell me? Who can guess? who's used it? Anybody looking at it that can guess how is this buyer questionnaire framework?
Has anyone seen the buyer questionnaire? Let's start at base level, right? Has anyone ever seen a buyer questionnaire in the sense for a buyer consultation? Sean
I
has.
I created one into my website. So when I talk with them, I created like a Google form and they fill it out and it has all their information. So when I read it, I actually summarize it and put it in their CRM what their preferences are and also references who can also benefit from my services.
So everyone that graduated onboarding should have seen this buyer
Yeah.
questionnaire because we go over it. So Pauline, if you click on the link, you can open it and just it's working. Just let's
Also, shout out to Richard.
do
I see him. He was showing his questionnaire and all that stuff. So
Good job, Richard.
I love it.
Great.
And then well, no, it's already built into this slide that you just clicked there. I was gonna say I'll drop that link there, guys.
Well,
But
no, the Google Doc that I dropped at the beginning has all these hyperlinks as well. So you guys should be able
amazing.
to follow along with me. So awesome. Okay, buyer questionnaire, right? This is formatted into a script we use, right? So I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what is this framework or script that we use?
One of the most famous guys.
LP Mama.
Woo! LP Mama. Thank you, Cassandra. She was like, I'm over here
100 fig team bucks to
but
Cassandra.
I'm going to answer. I know. Thanks, girl. Thanks. She's getting ready to perform, I think. So thank you. All right, awesome. LP Mama, right? When you guys don't know what questions to ask, follow the framework of LP Mama, which your buyer questionnaire is formatted that way, right? So a couple of things to also review and complete: price range, neighborhoods, timeline, must-haves versus your nice-to-haves, right? This is where we talk about, and you know I always say this when working with buyers, manage expectations, right? Well, having those conversations of the must-haves versus the nice-to-haves, right? Like, hey, I want a home for 250 with a pool in East Orlando. That pool will be nice to have, but is it a must-have, right? So this is where you have to have those conversations, figure out what they need versus what they want. And then again, here's another hyperlink. LP Mama's built into your Google document as well. Okay. Any questions on that part? All right.
I just
Next.
want to point out some things on the questionnaire. I feel like a lot of agents are afraid of asking questions for some reason, or they just forget to ask those questions. There's so many important questions in there, like, hey, what's the time frame of moving? I've seen agents skip that and they're showing home 6 months before the client is ready to cancel their lease, or their lease is up and they can't cancel it before, or they're showing 50 homes when you shouldn't be showing more than 5 or 10. So don't skip the questions. Don't skip the questions. They're all in there. So you have to practice this. Get a partner, a friend, a family member, me, Paulina, and practice, because also clients can tell when this is the first time looking at a document. So again, this part is, like, I would say, one of the most important parts of the consultation.
Yeah, very good. So good. As a matter of fact, I wanted to say, sorry, one of the new agents told me, she was like, I had to buy my brother a box of donuts so that he would just sit there while I practice with them. So buy your family a box of donuts and practice with them. So awesome. Okay, so next is going to be present the buyer guide, right? And the FIG team is awesome because we allow you guys to co-brand the buyer guide with your image on it, right? So hopefully you guys have that and you are using it, right? So again, it's hyperlinked. So if you don't have it, you have the ability to get that buyer guide. In there, it's also going to talk about the process to buying a home, which comes with our buying process overview. Again, if you onboarded with me, you know I love this document, right? Because it's an easy one snap. Like me, I love things that are simple, right? So it's that one page roadmap to really set the tone for what's going to happen in this transaction, right? So if you take the time to go over this with them, you can elaborate on each step, right? Meet your agent. Congratulations, that's me. You just took your first step to home buying. How exciting, right? Next, get pre-approved. It's about the pre-approval, finding your home, so on and so forth, right? So making sure that you're using this in your consultation. Okay. Let me go back to my presentation. Awesome. The buying process overview, market conditions, right? We can, it's a buyer's market, it's a buyer's market. Well, depending on what area you're in, it may not be a buyer's market, right? So not only do you have to get educated yourself, but being able to articulate the current market conditions to your buyer as well, right? And then, of course, your value proposition, right? Demonstrate your value as their agent, right? What are some things that we can do? What's our value prop? I want to hear your guys' value prop. What do you guys do that adds value to your client?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Damn, nobody adds value to their clients. That's crazy.
Paulina,
I
oh,
I
there
like
you go.
to I like to personalize things for them. So I love giving gifts. That's just my thing. It's one of my love languages. So anytime I show up at a listing appointment or a showing, I have something with me. Even if it is just like a printed out version of the buyer or seller's guide or a pack of flowers, something simple. You don't always have to go all out, but I like to just really personalize the experience for them because they're humans. So they need like that personalized touch to things to make them feel comfortable, for them to let their guard down a little bit, for them to explain their situation, especially if you're working with distressed sellers. You want them to talk as much as they can to really explain to you what they need, what they're looking for. And I just find that presenting something to them, it really helps. So, really, just personalizing the whole experience, whether you're working with buyers or sellers, make it personalized towards them. Look on their Facebook page, look them up and forewarn, things like that to find out a little bit about them. That it helps so much, like so much.
Yeah. Thank you,
Love,
Jess. I appreciate it.
love that.
Yes, he's really good at personal.
I would say, guys, hello, this is Gisela. That me personally, I first build a relationship with them, because buyers and clients, they tend to be a little close. Close meaning that they don't want to talk much. So I build a relationship, follow up every week with a call, text, messages. That's what I will do, and I will do always, and I do always.
Good. So you're proactive, right? You reach out
Yeah.
to them. So that's a good value, right? Being proactive, being responsive is a value, right? Like, hey, every time you reach out to me, you're interested in property. I'm going to do everything I can to find out about that property, right? So good. What else? What else do we do?
If they are not, they're very interested in a property and due to work or any situation, they cannot show up to the showing. Um, it's good always to offer, hey, it's okay, I can go for you. I'll call you on FaceTime or WhatsApp, or so you don't miss that opportunity. And they value that a lot because they're like, oh wow, you're taking your time without me being there, and I'm still being able to show the property. And I used to show every single detail. Hey, let me zoom this so you can see this cracks here or this. So I don't only show them the beautiful part of the house, they can see I'm honest with them and I show every single detail of the property. And from there, they decide if they want to go see it in person when they have a chance, or they want to pass, or they're good with just the video and they want to go with it because you were honest enough to show them everything on your time through camera because they didn't have time to go in person.
Yeah, so that's good. You're working on the best interest of your client, right? You're working with the utmost urgency for your client, right? That
Oh,
can go a long way as well, right? And I lost my train. The last thing you said was oh yeah, showing them what's wrong with them, right? And for me, that's huge. For me, I feel like that's one of the biggest ways to build trust, right? Once they know that you have their best interests at mind and you're there to protect them, that builds trust right there, right? All right.
Also, I do all those things too. Building a relationship. I copy a lot from Jessica about having a gift. That actually works a lot for buyers, but also something that I add on my presentation is that I let them know that it's not only me, that I come with a team that is in the back, that even that they don't see them, they only see my face, and that I might not know everything, but that I can reach back to the team that has a lot of experience and a lot of years in the business, and I tell them a little bit about the team and what the team has accomplished during all this time. And that also helps a lot to, not that I'm young, but when you're a little bit young, you can add that also as part of like they can trust you more and they, okay, so there's a team that has a backup and that hold me accountable and everything.
Yeah, I used to, as an ISA, I used to always say that, hey, don't worry, if my agent ever drops the ball, we got a team people here right behind them. Hopefully you never drop the ball, right? That wasn't the point. But yes, the value is that you're supported by many, right? So good. Anything
I
else?
think I want to add to that, Paulina. When you talk about the like Danny said, the knowledge and being an expert, you can reference back to the years and the amount of units we've sold. The brand awareness is something that you have to put in your buyer's consultation. When you're coming in there, you have to be branded. You know, you want to be branded with your Fig Team or EXP. You know, showing them that you're actively in the market, and you got to remember that we've been in the business 30 years, 20, I don't even 2020 earlys. How many units have we've already sold? So that's you can reference to that you're not by yourself, and that you work with a team that's sold X amount of properties over the last 20 years. So that right there builds credibility. Plus, they're recognizing you're a brand expert. You're an expert, and they're gonna trust you. Yes, you want to show them the information. Yes, you want to be able to be, they see that you hustle and so forth. But when they see that you actually know what you're doing and that you're backed up and you have a transaction team, all the products and all the resources we have is something that it has to be included in your buyer's consultation, because that's going to say, okay, I've got somebody that's going to help me with the biggest investment of my life, or one of my biggest investments. So I just wanted to add that to piggyback on what Danny had said there. Obviously the off market options, because of our reach and our experience, Mrs. Johnson, we're here to support you in so many other ways outside of just, me being me. So I just wanted to add that too.
And think of also like a lot of people have a negative connotation when it comes to salespeople. All right. So if we bring in like, we got these reviews, we got this reputation that we don't want to tarnish, right? It lets them know, hey, look, their customer service level has to be tip top, because if they drop the ball, like they have all these good reviews. If they drop the ball, I could leave them a bad review. Like what we're looking to do is build a relationship where we're going to get a good review after the sale and past the sale and everything. So there is that risk factor for us if we do perform negatively.
Totally. I'll go with Harold.
No, Christine could go, and then
Okay.
I'll just wrap up. Yeah.
Hey, so I'll share just a few things that I do kind of like from inception of the prospect until the first time that we meet. Something I do if I feel like it's, I don't do this with everybody, but I would say as often as I can, I call an on my way latte. So as I'm on my way, just texting them, hey, I'm stopping at Starbucks. What can I get you? Not can I get you anything? The way you ask instantly shows that you are leading this experience and this transaction, and it's just a surprise and delight. Everybody loves that. And I would say only half of the people actually take me up on it, but it demonstrates that I'm like giving and warm and friendly. As soon as I get off the phone with somebody, I run a sticky appointment process, because this is where, like everything happens, where we can make sure that we actually hold the appointments that we set. So sending a selfie video, sending the text message, sending a templated email with some value items like a buyer guide. Like I have a video flip book thing that I send out. And just making sure, like from the time you get off the phone until you meet in person, be intentionally texting them like 3 deep questions based off of what they told you over the phone. It just really helps to build up that rapport. Like I just pretend like there are 12 other agents that are competing for this exact buyer. And my first goal is just to absolutely win them emotionally, right? And speed to lead to applies not only to answering the phone, but with communication after you get off the phone. So speed to certainty is what we're really going for here when I send them a calendar invite, just like when you book an appointment with your doctor and you get the reminders and you get an initial invitation, it just immediately gives you confidence, like, okay, I feel calm and certain about this person I'm about to meet for the first time. So, like, so much of the work is done before I even meet somebody in person. And I'm bringing them some sort of a buyer kit, which is a folder, buyer roadmap, buyer guide, whatever other resources I feel like are fitting to that person. That might be a relocation guide for that specific area. And I'm giving that to them like as goodies, and there might be something in there that we're reviewing more in depth in person on that first showing. And just depending on the person and the amount of time that they have, you might have the opportunity to go into a buyer consult on the first showing. But I'm always like pitching a true buyer consult so that it's separate from the first round of showings. Um, and when we're at the first property, I tell them, like, I have a specific way. Like, let me teach you how we should actually look at properties so that I'm demonstrating like leadership in that very first showing. And buyers, when they feel like they're being led and you can demonstrate your expertise on how you're going to walk them through the property, and you're the one, if even if they've met 12 other agents, that actually gives them that feeling of certainty, like you're the one.
Very good. Yeah, I love that. I hope all y'all were taking notes because those were
Mic drop.
mic drop.
Crushed it. Yep.
Okay, we're just gonna close this. It's done. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, let me lower my hand. So Hector used to do this back in the day. He would always, if you're having a phone call, right, with a client, and there's some phone calls that are actually, I mean, I do this all the time. Some that still might have it, so I'll look back. One of the things he would always tell them, and with this tone too. Well, let me tell you, we're a little bit different than most other teams out there, right? And the reason why I still use that now is because there's a lot of times where a client is like, well, what time can you show me? And I always throw it back onto them in the sense of like, listen, this is your journey, your experience. I work around your schedule, right? The last thing that I would ever want to happen is you're waiting for me to show you a property, right? And God forbid that property was to go under contract and it was because of me, just because I was sick or anything like that. We do things a little bit differently on the FIG team. We work as a team, right? So if any time that God forbid Harold has a flat tire, that showing is still going to happen with you. I want them to always know that they are the center of this entire experience, right? Because truly, truly, truly think, guys, right? Are you worth what you're asking for? Think about that. Like, let that settle in right now. Of course, had plenty of time over this weekend to think about certain things, right? Are you worth what you make? Like what is your hourly and all this stuff? And are you supplying, are your actions and what you do, how you show up and all that stuff? Christine, I love how you said the whole Starbucks thing, because I do that all the time. Like, what's $5 going to cost you? Now, if I show you 50 houses, right, I'm not doing that every single time. But at the same time, I want them to know that this is an experience purchasing a property. I feel like so many clients or like they have a negative like connotation to doing this. Like it's going to be so stressed. I want them to be excited, right? And I want them to know that this is always about them and how their journey is. So that has been something that has always stuck with me. And I'm telling you, Hector was saying this 10 years ago. Let me tell you, we do things a little bit differently on the FIG team. That's it.
Thank you.
That power one-liner, guys, it's textbook. It's textbook. We've said it 1,000 different times over and over and over. When you separate yourself from the rest of the pack, remember there's a pack out there, right? What is it, Danny? Now we were talking about the other day, 90% of the agents out there just don't know what they're doing anymore. You have to separate yourself. That's why these buyers consultations are so important, because you're able to format and have something different. It's just like going the other day with Friday to that gentleman. When I handed him the marketing for FIG team, it's like, oh, I know who you guys are. Remember, they know who you are, but you have to let them know this is the biggest investment of your life, Mrs. Johnson. And one of our things that we used to laugh at, I put it on the chat, was unless you're buying a helicopter or a plane, right? Ha ha. Now they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. This is my biggest investment. That's why you're not going to give it to your cousin that works at Walmart or whatever the case may be. You need to work with the experts in the business. So yeah, Harold got me fired up just now. I'm going to get on the phones today.
Well, there you go, right? And so if you have not done a self-assessment yet, make sure you do it after this call. Because when we ask what's the value, a lot of people were quiet, right? So make sure you do a self-assessment. What is yours, right? What's your, everyone, right? Be authentically you. Everyone has their own style, right? Christine texts them, what's your order? Meraris, she sends a gift card. Hey, here's a gift card the day before, $5 Starbucks. Grab yourself a coffee on the way to our first showing, right? So elevate your or evaluate your strengths, right? Your weaknesses. That way you can play to your strengths. Reflect on your experience, your skills, knowledgeable. Like I remember one time I did call, I love my agent, but she can't answer any question that I ask her, right? Be knowledgeable, always sharpening your skill set and attending trainings. Clearly define what you bring to the table, right? Set clear expectations for communication. Are they a texter? Are they a caller, right? Be consistent and follow through on your commitments, okay? The biggest way to earn trust is do what you're going to say. Hey, I'm going to send you the buyer's guide in the next 24 hours. What if you don't, right? That's already the first red flag, right? And then remember to elevate yourself as a consultant, right? We're not here just chasing transactions. We're here to help people. And Christine hit it on the nail. You've got to come from a place of giving. We're always have to be giving, right? Because eventually it's going to give back. Okay. All right. Next is, where's my mouse? Okay. Next is obtain the buyer broker agreement, communication expectations, showing process and offer timelines. We're going to get into that in the next step. And then set up your Brivity listing alerts, right? The number one thing we need to do is find homes for our clients. The easiest way to do it and how to do it proactively is set them up on listing alerts. Cool. Anyone else want to add anything about the buyer's consultation before I move on? Cool. Okay, step 4, showings and property research, right? Help buyers make confident, informed decisions. So before your showings, we already elaborated a little bit of this in the buyer's consultation, but before you do showings, set the tone, right? Manage those expectations. So make sure you send a showing itinerary and confirmations. Buyers love it when you're organized. Hey, at 10 o'clock, we're seeing this, 10:30, we're seeing this, 11, we're seeing this. I see so many like, hey, yeah, I'll meet you at the first one. And then I see, well, what about the others, right? Be clear. Hey, this is where we're going, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, with confirmations. I've included in here an agent etiquette checklist as well, right? Some do's and don'ts that you want to do while you're at the property, right? We know a lot of the times, people, there's cameras, they're watching you. So making sure that you're representing the brand as a true expert and a professional. I'm gonna mute this person. Okay. So take a look at that. It's your do's and don'ts. Agent preparation. So now we're preparing for the showings, right? So the first thing we want to do is pull some comps. You don't have to do this whole CMA, but you want to pull some comps, right? Because then you start digging into the neighborhood. You start learning what the neighborhood is looking like. What have they sold for? What's the average days? What's the list to sell price, right? Are people getting the asking price or are they getting below? That way you can have a proper conversation with that buyer, right? Research each property. We want to look at the condition, the age of major systems, including the roof, HOA rules and fees, right? You want to know what amenities are included in those HOA. Right? Because if, hey, you got to pay $250 a month, they want to know what are they going to get with that, right? What's the value in that? Community amenities, taxes and assessments, MLS remarks and disclosures. It baffles me how many agents are not reading the realtor remarks. I'm trying to schedule this showing, Pauline, I need your help. And I'm like, well, here in the realtor remarks, it says this, right? So please, guys, make sure you're reading everything. Including the disclosures, right? Because that's where you can find the age of the roof. One time, I fully admitted when I first started, I didn't read those disclosures. I remember one time I was going to do a showing and the buyer was like, did you see there was a sinkhole? And I was like, I had to pretend like I did, right? Don't be that, right? You want to tell them, hey guys, I reviewed these documents. I saw that the property has XYZ, right? So come ready to your showings. All right, when it comes to showings, kind of like we mentioned, don't show them too many properties, right? I like the saying less is more, because what's going to happen is going to create a buyer's fatigue, right? I've got some tips. Right, we've got a rating system. It's a pretty cool checklist that EXP has created. It's a house hunting checklist, right? So you have this in there that you can use, give it to your buyer, say, hey, fill one of these out, right? Write the pros and cons. That way you get to listen also. What are the things that they love? Right? Like, does she have to have a tub? I've had buyers, I got to have a tub, right? Or I've got to have ceiling fans, right? You want to take note of this so that you know how to find that perfect property for them, right? Try to narrow down your selection to five homes max per showing. Okay, that way we can avoid that fatigue. Eventually, you have too many options, they're not going to be able to make a decision, right? So we typically say, after each showing, we want to use a rating system, right? So you leave a showing, okay, guys, I usually stand on the sidewalk or in the driveway. What were your thoughts, right? You have your pros and your cons. How would you rate this, 1 to 5, right? So now you have your top contender. And after each showing, you should always know which one's going to rank the top, right? And that way, at the end of your showings, you already know what offer you're going to put in. And always assume you're writing that offer, right? You always got to ask for the business, right? Okay, I see some hand raisers. Christine, you were first.
So I actually stole this from Dan Beer's Top Agent for the rating system. I do a 1 through a 7. And at the beginning of the showing, so I really think about this. I do multiple consultations along the way. I have 5 consultations. The second one is this is how we see homes consultation. And we typically do that the first time with their property. And that's when I explain to them, I'm going to tell you to rate every house a 1 through 7 based on location, functionality, how it fits your needs, price. I may throw in a couple of other things, but considering everything rated a 1 through 7, anything that hits a 5 or higher is something that we're going to have a conversation about submitting an offer on. So that's a way that you pre-close so that you don't get all awkward at the end, like, oh, so do you want to write an offer? Like they've already established this is a 5. Okay, sounds like we might be writing an offer.
I want to
Okay.
add to Christine's point too. I use a similar theory. It's a hectorism. I do like, okay, we're gonna show Christine, we're gonna go out and we're gonna see six properties in a 4-hour span. You know, a lot of times I have them on a text feed, as a lot of us do. We have a text going back and forth, right? We're showing properties via text. I tell them, you can like all you want, but the moment you love one of the listings or one of them we see, we're writing an offer. So I use the like and love text feature on the communication with them. And also too is using a similar, I don't use which I probably should, Christine, is use a scale, but I look to be okay to have them eliminating properties. Because I think what happens is it's like we go to a property, they see it, and they want to keep it on the list. And it doesn't check off. It doesn't have the tub. It doesn't have the pool, whatever it is. And your job is to let the house speak for itself, right? Because a lot of times the house whispers, the house speaks to them. If it's there and they say, I love this house, well, we're writing an offer. The moment they use the word love, I set the expectation to do not use the word love, because we are going to go to the table and I'll start negotiating immediately. So you kind of set that expectation for the beginning. I love the way Christine, I'm going to use that 1 and 5. I like that a lot. So I just wanted to add that, guys.
And also, if they're ranking it like a 4, but there's hesitation, what would make this a 5? Or what would make this a 7? Because many times, no problem, we'll negotiate for the seller to replace carpet.
Very good. Isis?
Just to add on to that, I think that yes, the checklist for the properties that you're showing is super important, because typically they forget even what they liked about the first home you show them. They're so excited about the process that they're like, which one was the first house? Obviously I really think, and I'm very passionate about this, if you're showing more than 10 homes, there's an issue. And that issue it's either that you skipped maybe a buyer consultation. It happens. You get excited, you call them and you're showing home the next day and you decided to skip the buyer consultation. Or the client really doesn't know what they want. Because if they give you exactly their criteria, you sit down with them, expectations, motivation, and there's homes out there, you shouldn't be showing more than 5. So that's when you need to reevaluate, maybe sit down with them for a cup of coffee to see what's the issue, but you should not be showing 20, 30, 40 homes. That is a red flag. And I know sometimes when you're new, you don't know better, you think that's the way it is, but I'm telling you right now, that is not how it is. And then obviously coming to prepare to showings is super important. I feel like the agents just show up sometimes and they don't know anything about the property or the neighborhood. You should know what's going on in the neighborhood, what's things that are building or upcoming in that area. So the client feels like, okay, this person is knowledgeable about the property and I feel like I can trust them. So because if I'm asking you, Paulina, what's the age of the roof? Oh, let me get back to you. What are the taxes? And most of it is on the MLS sheet. So just read the damn MLS sheet just before getting there.
Boss, and
That
I also want to add that, guys, if you're not prepared, you gotta don't wait to get to the property and be on your hood trying to call an agent because you woke up, you didn't do your research the night before and you're 45 minutes to a showing and you're trying to schedule showings on the way down. We've seen it 1,000 times where agents are trying to schedule showings on the way down to a property. That's like 101. Like that's a no-no. Prepare yourself prior to. Get them everything, print out your synopsises, get everything because they're going to smell it. The buyers will know. And if they get an agent that actually goes in the future that because you showed them 10, 15 houses and then, you're not preparing like Easy says, you will expose yourself. It's just a matter of time.
That's right. Right. So what are we showing up with what are we showing up to our showings? Have your folder, right? Your MLS printout, could do a roadmap, could do a questionnaire that you're going to fill out there. The roadmap, the guide, MLS, what am I missing? Disclosures, right? That way you have all of that there. So not only are you knowledgeable, but now you have a copy for them to take, right? So making sure that you have your buyer folders ready to go. Okay. Another cool thing too that we've kind of talked about is start keeping track of the journey, right? Take a picture of them in front of each house, right? That way, if that's the one they decide to buy, a good closing gift could be a framed picture, right? So those are a couple of things that you can do to elevate your showing experience. Okay. All right, now we're in step 5, offer strategy and negotiations. Who loves to negotiate? Love to negotiate, right? So your goal is to write a strong, competitive offer aligned with the buyer's goals. So again, reviewing comps and market data, right? We don't want to have issues with appraisals or anything like that. So price strategy. You're going to discuss earnest money, discuss closing date, contingencies, seller concessions, and then any specific appliances, making sure that we're avoiding vague requests, right? I saw this the other day. Include all appliances viewed during showing. We got to get precise, right? Is there a washer? Is there a dryer, right? I think we always hear the story of one of the agents on the team had to buy a fridge for someone because they left that part out, right? So making sure that we are writing clean offers. If you're on this call, you're within your first 90 days. Like I've said, have me review all your offers before you send them out, please. A scary story is that one of the agents on the team didn't, and she gave away her entire commission because she didn't properly word her additional terms, right? So just please making sure. So what are some, I think I have negotiations here too. Okay, yeah. So, all right. So when we're getting ready to submit and prepare our offer, there's a few things that we want to do, right? So one is inform the listing agent when submitting an offer, right? And you want to clarify if there are any competing offers. We kind of touched on this morning, right? In some markets, we're seeing multiple offers, right? So how you write the offer decides whether that listing agent wants to work with you or not, right? I have several times, if you're able to build rapport, you submit a really good, clean offer, I've won offers just by that, right? Building rapport. So, hey, listing agent, we're submitting an offer. Love your listing on 123 Main Street. My buyers love it. We're going to submit an offer. 1, are there any offers that you're currently considering? Right? 2, is there anything in particular or special that your sellers are looking for? right? Like if it's a multiple, maybe a post occupancy could be the thing that draws their attention, right? Short inspection periods, right? I'm like giving it all away. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, positively and proactively define and then articulate your side's wants and needs, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to win the offer, but also still advocating and protecting your client. Ask great questions to learn what the other side's wants and needs. Make sure you understand all the elements at play in the negotiation before you start negotiating. Find the common ground, show both sides a pathway to own it. And once you've built momentum with common ground, problem solve for the areas of disagreement through compromise and creativity. And then keep your buyer informed throughout the counter offers. So, what are some things that we can negotiate, right? Price, terms, repairs, right? So, what are some other things when writing an offer that can make it more attractive? I want to hear from you guys. What are some things that we can do? And I know this is kind of like a piggyback to the Wednesday huddle, but maybe we can reiterate. I know Jess said some words. Not sure if she wants to say it for everybody else.
Shorter
What?
inspection,
Short inspection, that's one. What
less
else?
contingencies.
Less contingencies,
The moving date, like if you need an extension.
right? People love a quick close.
Strong escrow, EMD.
Strong escrow, right? Skin in the game. If we put more
Skin in
skin
the
in the
game.
game, yeah, it shows that we want it bad, right? What else? Think that covers it. Okay, cool. I know earlier someone mentioned, right? Make sure you're following up with that listing agent. If you submit an offer and you go more than a few hours, right, a whole day, maybe every morning, hey, how's my offer, right? You want to make sure that if there are competing offers, that you are communicating with them to make sure that yours is the winner, right? And then if it doesn't, it's one of those things you always want to ask for feedback, right? What could you have done differently?
Also build a report with the listing agent.
Yep, yep, that's a big one.
I can reinforce how much, like how important it is to send a clean offer. If you're the listing agent, if you're on the other side and you have one or two offers, I mean, at the end of the purchase price is not everything. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, let me evaluate the whole situation because if I'm working with an agent that I know that doesn't know what they're doing and I'm gonna have to do the work for them, I'm probably gonna guide my clients and be like, I don't feel like this is a good agent and I don't know how they're representing their client, but let's see all the sides of this offer, right? Or even if it's the same purchase price, you might want to work with the agent who knows what they're doing. So same purchase, everything looks the same. You want to work with the agent that is more knowledgeable. And also a reminder, you're representing the FIG team. So yes, you're Hector and Christine, but this is the FIG team, is our name. So we have templates on how the email looks, like with the summary of the offer on that email, what the text message to say. So please ask us if you have not done this before or need any tips or advice because clean offers really, really matter.
Or
Yeah.
like Issa says, clean offer, but also complete offer. Because I have received offers that they put the name of the buyer and the seller, and then they put on the rest as shows on MLS, what it says on MLS. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Who's sending this contract? Like, and I'm like, no. And I have to send it back saying, no, you need to complete every space how it is. Oh, I already put as how it shows on MLS. No, that's not how you write an offer. So, yeah, as she says, like a clean offer, but also complete every step of the blank space in the offer.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, and no incomplete. And to that is your attachments too, right? Like if there are attachments in the MLS, that's a part of your offer package, right? So that like a listing agent, I remember 2021 days, like where you would get 60 offers. Your offer wasn't even considered if there wasn't attachments with it because it's not complete, right? So thank you, Elaine, for saying that. Go ahead, Jess.
I was gonna say, just I wanted to put out there from experience, like that cover letter, I literally had a listing agent tell me because of the cover letter and how organized my offer was and everything you just said, Elaine, attaching everything. they were actually excited to work with me because they saw how organized I was from the jump. It was even like, number one, calling them and thanking them, for allowing us to tour, all that. Because I was there for almost an hour with my buyers because this was the house that they wanted. And I had only put the slot for 30 minutes. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, listen, we're here longer than the 30-minute time frame. I just wanted to let you know, like, I'm telling you, like, agents really do appreciate that transparency and the communication. So, like, it works, you guys. All those templates, all of that, it may seem like one extra step, but it really truly works, because then down the line, like, when they have a buyer and let's say you have a listing, they're going to reach out to you. They're going to want to work with you or anybody from the FIG team. If they see FIG team on a listing, they're going to reach out and they're going to be like, hey, let's go tour this property. So all of those things, they really, really work and make a huge difference. So it's amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for, now we know why all your offers win. And you have to think about, when it comes to negotiating, there are 4 stages, right? One is the research, right? If you're gonna negotiate price, you got to research comps, right? If you're gonna negotiate for a new AC, maybe you got to get a quote. So that's research, right? Like, you want to be able to research what you're gonna be negotiating. Next would be planning. Submit the offer and then making sure that you communicate after. Okay. Anyone else want to add anything before I move on? Okay. All right. Step 6, under contract, right? So once you're under contract and you have your transaction management, we want to be able to guide our buyers smoothly from contract to closing. I usually like to say, well, congrats, you're under contract. The real work begins, right? So the first thing you want to do operationally is making sure that you are submitting it into Sisu. Okay, that way it can get over to our transaction coordinator, April, get over to her hands, and she can start sending out those introductory emails, confirm key dates and deadlines. Guys, know your deadlines. Okay, I cannot say it enough. So many people are like, oh, I haven't had I'm negotiating repairs. I'm like, well, when's your inspection deadline? Oh, it was yesterday. Like, you don't have a leg to stand on, and you can't ask for anything if you are outside your inspection period. Okay. So know your deadlines. What are those deadlines? First one is going to be escrow, typically 3 days, right? Then we have inspection, right? Inspection, the industry norm is 7. You could do 10 days. If left blank, it defaults to 15, right? But normally listing agents will counter that to leave it, but typically 10. Very good. Inspection negotiations, right? So you go on the contract, you do an inspection. Now you got to negotiate some of the findings, right? And that's why that's why I said you have to research sometimes, because if you're going to negotiate or request some repairs, making sure that you do some research behind that as well. Property documents, maybe it's in an HOA that the HOA needs to send approval, right? Maybe there's extra documents that the community needs, the title needs, right? You have to be involved. Don't just say, all right, we're in a contract. Let me know if you need anything, right? No, that's not the idea, right? Being a point of the contact and making sure all of those are getting submitted on time. And then lastly is coordinating the appraisal, right? You want to make sure that it's falling in line, if it needs to be negotiated after the fact, but these are some things that you want to be aware of. Making sure that you're tracking this progress and you're communicating updates, right? Does your buyer, if you're in a contract, your buyer should be hearing from you every other day, right? If no updates, then send an update with no updates, right? Like, I remember one time, hey guys, just wanted to send you an update, still waiting on this, right? But to have radio silence, it gives people anxiety. So again, being responsive, right? Again, assisting with loan conditions, title, and escrow requirements. Anybody want to add anything for under contract? All right, cool. Last but not least is our pre-closing final walkthrough. So right before you close, some people do it the morning of, some people do it the day before, is you want to schedule your final walkthrough so you can confirm property condition and verify that those repairs that you guys agreed upon are completed, right? You want to make sure that you review your closing disclosure. per the 3-day rule, you've got to have that closing disclosure signed on time, right? So letting them know, hey guys, if this doesn't get signed, we will be delaying closing, right? And then confirm funds to close, ID requirements, closing time and location. The good thing is title takes care of that, right? But it's your job to confirm and also know it so you can attend, right? Be the agent that shows up. Anyone do anything special for final walkthroughs or anything like that?
I just wanted to add, be in front of your file. If you're not gonna use two techniques. One is reply all, and I think that I kind of heard a lot of reply all, meaning that you make sure title doesn't drop you off of a file. You make sure the lender doesn't drop you off of a file. And sometimes you don't have to say anything but watch your file, but you have to be in front of that file. Remember, you're the agent. The secret agents they get killed in negotiating. They get killed in the files, and they're wondering, well, why did it fall apart? Well, it fell apart because you didn't read your seller disclosures. You weren't on top of your trade. You weren't on, you got to stay on top of whether you're being. We have a transaction side that goes front to back. Yeah, that's all cool and everything, but make sure you have a reply all, and like the follow up is the fortunes in the follow up too, with the agent, with the lender. One of the expectations that I always try to do, and maybe sharing best practices, is everybody that's important in the file is going to be on that file from the beginning. Hey, Paulina's the lender, so and so's the title. I listen, we're kumbaya, everybody's there for the same common goal. So it's like I think Cassandra says, be nice, it wins, right? That is like, be nice to the lender, be nice to the title company, be nice to everybody in the file, so that everybody's working for the same common goal. And I always send little emails like, let's get it done, right? ... explanation to everybody, so everybody's like, okay, yeah, we're all in this file together. So that way your seller agent or your buyer's agent is not coming at you. Be like, wait a minute, Paulina, you know what's going on in the file. We've been there since day one. We've been holding each other's hands. So agents on the other side, they appreciate that. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, and we've arrived to our closing day where we can celebrate and deliver a memorable experience. So attend closing if possible. Make sure you congratulate your buyers, provide keys and a closing gift, take photo with permission, and post on social media. I want to hear what you guys do because I've seen some pretty cool things on social media. And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm disabled on Instagram, so I'm not there right now. Yeah. So what do you guys do, right? Like, I don't want to give it away. I want to hear what you guys do.
Okay, I'll go. I don't like to go too over the top sometimes because I feel like I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, well, if she made enough money to be able to buy me a flat screen and a grill and a new car and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So like I try to get to know them personally and give them something that's unique to them or their situation or their family status. Like a couple clients I just worked with, they were about to have a baby girl. So I want to tailor it to, not just the house itself, because of course there are some things that are nice. If there are repairs that need to be done, or I know they need to replace a couple things, Home Depot, like something that lets them know I'm not just giving everyone the same thing. I want it to be a genuine thank you. And like, here's something that can really help you get started, hopefully. And not just, oh, she does this for everybody. Like she took the time to get to know me, get to know my favorite color that I like to read. She got me a gift card to Barnes and Noble, like stuff that's not just for the house, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like like you said, if they're expecting, right? I've sold a few homes to people that were pregnant. So it's like maybe a box of diapers on their counter when they move in, right? So yeah, personalize it.
I budget a HWP moving forward in 2026. I've made a commitment to budget a housewarming party for every one of my primary residents they're moving into. They're not investments, of course, but if they're moving into the house, I budget a HWP party now moving forward on all closings. What does that mean? Is basically they can invite whoever they want when their house is ready. And basically, I cater the food with the support of whoever may be the lender on there with the title company. I think we talked about before, but that's something, a best practice that I know I'm personally putting in this year. Sharing best practice, I'm telling you, it works because they invite all their closest friends, 20, 25 people. You go over there, you're not selling anything to anybody. You're just basically setting up shop Provide the music, no alcohol, period. You know, I'm against that, but you do the food, you do the drinks, and you let them know, and actually do a little certificate and give it to them at the closing table and say, listen, when you're ready to have your housewarming party, I'm gonna cater to that. Let me get the list. I am able to call their RSVPs. I have all their friends and family RSVP. I make the calls for them and say, hey, Paulina, you know, Harold just closed on his house. He wanted to personally invite you to his housewarming party, blah, blah, blah. And believe it or not, 30, 40 people show up. You show the house, you know, the owners show the house and be like, that's my realtor. And you're over there sweeping and cleaning and stuff like that. They love it. So
Does anyone else remember who else on the team does that? And they did 20 sphere deals last year, at least 20.
Meraris.
Very good. Thank you, Cassandra. That is Merari's secret sauce, events. And she hosts it for other people. Sometimes she'll do it at her own house, sometimes like Hector said, but like you said, you're having a party. Oh my God, who's throwing this party? My realtor. Like, oh, that's her. Yes, that's me. Hello, nice to meet you. Right? Jess, you wanted to say something?
Well, it's funny you're bringing up Merais because I got from her taking your client out to lunch or dinner. So I did that with my other buyers that closed, and I got them like, you know, a little personalized gift. I love to do that. Got their a picture of their new house printed for them, like it was like etched for them. It was really cute. They loved it, and then I took them out to dinner. And, you know, they really, really appreciated that because they were in the middle of moving and like they weren't thinking about like cooking dinner and all of that. And then for another family that closed, I had pizza delivered to them when they were moving. So it's like keeping that communication with them, of course, after closing. And like they had reached out to me and they're like, okay, we're moving today, Jess. We're so excited. The kids are excited. So I had pizza delivered to them. So that's one less thing that they have to think about. And yeah, they just love that idea. So I love the idea of throwing like a housewarming party. I'm not ready for that yet, but that'll definitely have to get worked into the budget. I'm like literally writing out my budget for 2026. But I think that goes like such a long way because then it literally will turn into like a block party, you know, and then like the neighbors will start looking and seeing, and then you can even like walk around, and if your buyer is open to it, like even inviting some of the neighbors, especially in these newer neighborhoods where everybody is new. It's like, let's all get to know each other because we've all been living here for a short time and everyone loves to just stay in their houses. So it's like, oh, our neighbor down the street that just moved in a month ago or a week ago or 3 months ago, they're having a party. Let's go pop by and say hi, you know? So love those ideas. Everyone has such great ideas and they work, you guys.
yeah,
Personalize.
Justin, I think you could even like you go to door knocking on that and say, hey, come, hey, knock, 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 hey, Jessica, come meet your neighbors. Like
Yeah.
from this time to this time, they see you putting out directional signs for like you can even use open house signs as to come to have use them as directional. Put balloons. It's so low cost, guys. That
Yeah.
it's just the fact that like, oh my God, you win the entire community in one shot.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that.
Right? Like he said, how are we going to stand out from the rest of the pack? We're just going to, okay, congratulations. And just that one photo? No, right? Like start thinking outside the box what you can do. I know some agents, if you maybe you're just so busy and you have so many closings, but like some people just have baskets, right? And they have baskets stock. Like I want to say it was like Anna. I went to her garage and she just had baskets stacked, ready to go. So every time she was meeting someone, even if it was just a showing, she always had these ready to go, right? So prepare yourself, arm yourself with all these things that you're going to need: picture frames, baskets. I do cutting boards, right? And then I even personalize cutting boards. So those are a few things that we can do to elevate that closing experience as well.
Yes, Paulina, your friend, you should drop her. I'll look it up on Instagram because she is fast too.
Yeah.
Like she had cutting boards done for me in 2 days.
Perfect.
2 days. So yeah, she was amazing.
And it's something that's going to sit in their kitchen all the time, right? And it has a little house. You can put your logo on it too, your information. So if it's in the middle of the kitchen counter or island and people even pass by and say, oh my God, I love this. Oh yeah, my realtor bought it for me, right? You want them to be able to bring you up. And then the other thing that I did add, in case you didn't see, is in FUB, there is the action plan for past clients, forever clients. So make sure you're triggering that, right? That way they can keep you top of mind and asking for those referrals throughout the whole year. So awesome. All right.
Yeah, that next slide, Paulina was like, go to the next slide because that
All
was
right,
the one
yes.
that we
So
talked
this is where post-closing follow. I thought it was in here. Post-closing turn buyers into lifelong clients and referral sources. Make sure you send thank you messages, videos. Send them a postcard that says congratulations, maybe with their photo, right? Make sure you ask for the referral and your review. Your reviews are everything, right? That's where you just take your Google, your Zillow profile and send it to them. Say, hey guys, can you just leave me a quick review?